What is more important, that you live out your dream, thing that you want, thing that you deep down desire? Or is it what your family member thinks? Or whoever it is that you're worried about thinking something of you? I think that we're all in this world for a certain reason. And I think that if we listen to our intuition and what we really deep down want, more beautiful things than we could have ever imagined is going to come from that. And we can't not give that gift to the world just because we're so afraid of what someone who isn't even into that anyway thinks of us for doing that.
Hi, my name is Pernilla, and this is my Challenge Your Norm podcast. I'm absolutely obsessed with anything related to personal development. And well, to grow, we got to challenge our norm. And so on this podcast, we chat about life and how we can challenge our normal way of living it to make it greater than we could have ever imagined. Just one little belief, habit, bold move, and challenge at a time.
Hello, my beautiful friend, and welcome back to another episode here on my Challenge Your Norm podcast, where today we're going to talk about probably the biggest challenge I have had to deal with in my life, which comes to caring about what other people are going to think of me when I do certain actions, when I say certain things, when I live my life the way that I deep down want to live it. And I think that I'm not alone in having this fear of judgment. So I thought I would share 4 steps that have helped me so incredibly much when it comes to breaking out of living my life according to how other people want for me to live my life / how I think other people want for me to live my life. And this all came about. Let me give you a little backstory. Currently, I am in the midst of hopefully creating a 30-day YouTube challenge where every single day for 30 days, I'm going to upload a long form YouTube video. And I still at the same time want to be uploading and recording my podcasts. I want to be uploading and creating one short / reel / TikTok per day. And a lot comes with these long form YouTube videos. Creating a reel, a short, a TikTok, piece of cake. A long form YouTube video, that's a whole other story. But I just have had this urge the last 2 or 3 years to at one point create this 30-day challenge where every day when people wake up, they can expect a new video from Pernilla, so that it becomes a little bit of a daily ritual habit for people who are viewers of my channel. And so right now it is November 6th, the day before this podcast comes out. And I have filmed 5 videos so far, and each video has to be edited, and the editing is really what takes the longest. Like recording the videos, easy. Of course, you have to come up with a concept for each video, but then once you have like a general idea of how it's shot, then the shooting of the video is pretty simple, but the editing is what takes so long. However, I am completely going on a tangent. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because today, the YouTube video that I'm shooting is all about how to not give a frick about what anyone thinks of you, because I think that is the thing that holds most of us back from doing the thing that we deep down want in life. For me, at least, it always has. Step number 1 that I want to share with you today is getting very clear on what it is that you want. Because I was playing around with the idea of starting to post online for over a year before I actually started this Instagram that at the time I called Workout with Pernilla, and it is my current Instagram account. That was like the first thing I did, was create a new Instagram account, because I had an Instagram account at the time, but I was so nervous that my friends and my family would judge me if I started posting fitness stuff or self-development stuff. So I created this separate Instagram account so that no one knew would see it. But again, it took me over a year to actually get started and do that. And it really was because, first of all, I had this fear that people would say, who does she think she is by doing this? I didn't think I was worthy or good enough to do this. Yeah, well, I was just so afraid of what people were going to think of me if I did it. So it took me over a year to get ready and do that. And it wasn't until I got super clear on what it is that I actually wanted for my life, which oh my gosh, I feel like I repeat myself so much on this podcast. It's funny because like I never will remember what I have talked about previously. Like I just talk and I'm sure I repeat myself so much. So just bear with me. I hope that at one point I'll get better at that. But sometimes it's also okay to hear things again and again, right? Because then eventually like, or we hear it, then different things click at different times. So I'm sorry if I repeat myself, but I can't help it. I'm obviously just sharing what I'm learning from my life experiences, and I have only lived 28 years, so I only have so many to pull from. And so it wasn't until I got super clear on what it is that I wanted for my life, which was to impact people's lives in the way that I had been impacted by other people who were willing and brave enough to share their life on the internet and their lessons and their ways of living that made them happy, so that I could apply that to I wanted to use my life to help other people in the way that other people's lives in the way that certain people had impacted my life. And it wasn't until I got very clear on the fact that that is what I wanted for my life that I could look myself in the eye and ask myself, okay, so what's more important? Is it what your friend from high school thinks of you right now? Or is that to actually live out your mission and do this thing that you deep down want to do? That I was willing to be brave enough to do it anyway, because I'd gotten so clear on this step one of what it is that I actually deep down wanted. So I think that is very important before you move on, that you get super clear on what is it actually that you want. Because once you're super clear on that, then I think all these minor little insecurities, questions, thoughts of what people are going to think of us are going to be less important, because we can put them side by side and ask ourselves, look ourselves in the eye, what's more important? Is it what this person who you don't even know anymore thinks of you? Or maybe it is someone. Maybe it's a close family member that will think something of you. But what is more important, that you live out your dream, the thing that you want, the thing that you deep down desire? Or is it what your family member thinks, or whoever it is that you're worried about thinking something of you? I think that we're all in this world for a certain reason. And I think that if we just listen to our intuition and what we really deep down want, I think more beautiful things than we could have ever imagined is going to come from that. And we can't not give that gift to the world just because we're so afraid of what someone who isn't even into that anyway thinks of us for doing that. Step number 2, I think, is so incredibly important, or at least it has been for me. That is to get outside of your comfort zone. Get uncomfortable every single day. I have always had a brain that wanted to take the easy route, do the easy thing. And once I changed that mindset, started to make myself want to get uncomfortable, because I know because I started to understand that would be the only way for me to become the human that I deep down wanted, to become the person that would be capable of all these big dreams and goals that I was so deeply dreaming of creating into my existence. I knew that I had to grow and evolve as a human, and the only way to grow and evolve as a human is to get outside of our comfort zone and do things that we maybe wouldn't have done previously. And for me, I used fitness and getting really uncomfortable, whether it came to challenging sprints, challenging workouts, cold exposure, speaking up when normally I wouldn't have, in a loving way. There's always a way to do it in a loving way, but speaking up if you normally would have been quiet, and just doing things like, if you have the urge to go up and speak to someone, like just doing it instead of holding yourself back. Like every single chance you get outside of your comfort zone, because what happens when we realize that we're capable of doing these challenging things that we previously thought we weren't capable of, then suddenly we're willing to take more and more and more risks. And the more risk we're willing to take, because we trust that we're capable of taking these risks, doing these challenging, bold moves, the more we expose ourselves and open ourselves up to allowing bigger and better things to come into our life, because we are leveling up. So the things that come to us, the things that we can attract, are going to be so much greater than if we stayed in our little comfort bubble of doing the same things that we always had done. Like, we have to be willing to get uncomfortable. And if we make a commitment to ourselves, a promise to ourselves that we are going to get outside of our comfort zone every single day, then little by little, we are going to get stronger, feel more badass within, and more confident And that's just beautiful, I think. And that leads us to the third step that I think is just as important, if not the most important, which is keeping the promises that we make to ourselves. Like when we've made a commitment to ourselves that every day I'm going to take a cold shower, or every day I'm going to do a 10-minute sprint, or whatever it is, every time I get the opportunity to speak up in a work meeting, I'm going to do it. Like when we make a commitment to ourselves to do this one challenging thing every single day, that when we see ourselves making a promise, a commitment to ourselves, and we see ourselves keeping that promise and our commitment to ourselves, then we start to believe that we can trust ourselves. We start to gain this new level of self-respect, because we all have this friend where, they say one thing and then they come up, they don't show up, or they're there late, or they say they're going to do one thing and then they do another thing. And then we also have the friend where we know if they say that they're going to be there at 5 p.m., they are for damn sure going to be there at 5 p.m. And we also both know which person we're going to have the most respect for, right? And that is the person that keeps their word, that when they say they're going to do something, they do it. And we know that we can trust that without a doubt, that when they say something, they're going to do it. And it goes that way with ourselves as well. If we can believe that when we commit to something within ourselves, that we're actually going to do it, our level of self-respect and self-belief just expands insanely. And I think the most important relationship that we have in our life is the one that we have with ourselves, right? Like there's no more important relationship, because the better we feel within and about ourselves, the better we're going to be with every other human in our life. It doesn't matter. We all know that when we feel good within, anyone can say anything to us and we're still going to be good. If we're feeling negatively, in a bad mood, low energy within ourselves, someone can say something really nice and we can still be like, not take it in or brush it off or just even react negatively. So it all comes down to how we feel about ourselves. And here's the key thing when it comes to caring about what other people think of us, and this self-respect and this getting outside of our comfort zone. When we have respect for ourselves, when we see ourselves level up outside of our comfort zone and see our true potential, we will start to value ourselves on a different level. And when we value ourselves, it's going to matter less what someone else thinks of us, because we think good, because we think highly of us. It will matter less what someone else thinks of you. And this leads me to the fourth point, and that is developing self-awareness, as in getting to know ourselves. And I do this, if you know me, you know I do this through my morning routine. At least that's partially how I do it. I journal on any challenges I'm having. I journal on what are my core values. What do I actually want? If I'm in the midst of like wondering what should I do in this situation? Like, what will people think of me if I do this and that? It's like really digging deep into what do I want? What do I value? What are the most important things in my life at this moment? And reflecting on my past and what I want for the future, and really getting to know myself. And I think we also know, this is also something I've talked about previously on my podcast, we know that the better we get to know someone, the deeper connection we build with someone, the more we're going to start caring about them, right? Like someone who used to be a stranger, the more we got to know them, the more we got to actually really care about them. And I think it's the same with ourselves. If we get to really know ourselves, know our intentions, that our intentions are good, then we can make mistakes and, not always be perfect, but still love ourselves for the effort, the intention, how hard we can care for ourselves when we are doing well, but also when we're not doing very well, and give ourselves the love that we deserve. And going back again to what other people are going to think of us, it's like if we have developed this self-awareness, slowly developing this self-love for us, it no longer will matter what someone else thinks of us. Because if we're focused on us, on what it is that we want for our life, focusing on developing our inner strength, experiencing our strength and our capabilities through getting challenged every single day and going towards the thing that we want, and keeping those promises that we make to ourselves and seeing that we actually can trust ourselves and developing this self-awareness of really getting to the deep core of who we are, what other people think will no longer occupy our minds. If we just focus on us, what we want to do for this world, for the people that are around us, what our mission in life is. If that's what we're focused on, who the frick cares what someone else thinks? It does not matter the slightest bit. And this is something that I still struggle with. The funny thing is that when I am struggling with this, it usually comes down to a new area of myself that I have not yet learned to fully love and fully accept within myself. So if I ever get, I get negative comments daily, but they don't affect me anymore most of the time because I have really taken every single part of. First of all, you get thick skin when you're posting things online because you hear so many good, so many bad things. And it's like, as long as you know who you are, then you all you can do is learn from your mistakes and have good intentions and do your best every day. But you can't be affected by the comments, right? But also every time I have been affected by, let's say, a negative comment, I've really asked myself, what about what they said is something that I can learn to love about myself? Because once I love it about myself or accepted it but within myself, then they can have their truth, because really, everyone's comments is a reflection of themselves. Then they can have their truth, but I know my truth. And, sometimes I make mistakes, and then I obviously want to better myself and try to not do that again, or at least get better within that thing. But if I can take their responses, if I ever get affected negatively, as a learning lesson for me to learn and accept myself more, then I think it's golden whenever I do get negative comments, because it's just like another learning lesson. Like any mistake, failure, things that don't go right in life, we can see in that way. I hope that something I shared today helped you realize that what other people think is none of your business. It's their business. As long as you just work on you, on those 4 steps that we talked about today, then I hope you can see that you should just go for whatever it is that you want, act in the way that feels the most right to you. And obviously, we're all going to learn as we go. But don't live your life for others. Live your life for you, and magical things are going to come to you. I promise you that. It's every time I've stepped outside of my comfort zone, done something against what I think people would have wanted for me, that the most beautiful things in life have come. And that is what I want for all of us. So hopefully something I shared helped. If it did, if you liked any of what I said, then I hope you would be willing to write a review and give me some stars. That helped me so much in growing this podcast episode. Subscribe if you haven't, and maybe if you feel like a friend would find it useful as well, then share it with them. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again soon. Bye.